This video marks a monumental event on the RPG Ranked channel, as this is our first ever review. I felt obligated to do this game first, since it is quite literally my favorite game of all time. In today's article I'll be telling you why this slightly obscure Xbox 360 JRPG is the best RPG I've ever played. As with all reviews I will be posting from this point forward, I will be ranking each game in 10 different categories. The battle system, the story, the music, the fun factor, the art/graphics, the characters, the dungeons, the side quests, quality of life, and the uniqueness of the game. Now without further ado, I present to you a Lost Odyssey review. 14 years later, it's still my favorite game of all time. First, I will talk about the battle system. First things first. Does the Lost Odyssey battle system reinvent the wheel in a meaningful and unique way? No, not necessarily. But Lost Odyssey may just have my favorite traditional turn-based battle system of all time. And when I say traditional, I'm not talking like Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. I'm talking traditional like Final Fantasy. Lost Odyssey's battle system is a perfect blend of the battle systems in the following games: Final Fantasy X, Legend of Dragoon, and the original 3 Final Fantasy games. Lost Odyssey has a turn order similar to Final Fantasy X. However, all character actions are selected one at a time, similar to earlier Final Fantasy games, Lufia 2 and 3 or the Golden Sun series. Basically, the whole party is selecting at the same time instead of like an ATB system where each person selects at their own time. In addition, there are quick time events in the form of the comprehensive and addictive ring system. With these rings, you can change the attributes of your basic attacks on the fly in battle, allowing you to create awesome strategies to deal the maximum amount of damage possible. This game is one of the few games where I feel that both magic and physical attacks are equally strong, and that makes each character seem great in battle. With 4 unique types of magic, a plethora of command abilities, and the aforementioned ring system, combat never ceases to be fun in Lost Odyssey. Add to that the assortment of non-generic enemies, and you have a battle system that rarely gets old. Oh wait! I forgot some stuff that no other game has really ever experimented with. These 2 features make this battle system that much better: the Immortals and the Guard Condition status. The Immortals are able to revive in battle after a few turns knocked out, which is absolutely broken, and it's literally such a cool idea that I'm surprised has never been revisited in other RPGs. The guard condition system is basically the front and back row system, but like infinitely cooler, because it makes you really strategize what enemies you're going to attack first, and like once you start weakening the enemies in the front row, then you can hit the enemies in the back, and usually the enemies in the back are like the harder enemies, so you want to like weaken the enemies in the front and then go hit enemies in the back, and I don't know, it's a lot more interesting and strategic than other back row front row systems, and your party has it too. It just makes it feel more like an all-out war than just a generic battle. And even though Lost Odyssey's battle system doesn't really reinvent the wheel as much as many other RPGs do, like we're getting some crazy new battle systems. I don't know, like Paper Mario Origami King has some weird battle system where you get games like I guess this is rather old, but the Wild Arms game with like the hexagon system. I think that's Wild Arms. It's one of the later ones. I can't really remember. But or like how FF12 like was completely new around the same time Lost Odyssey came out. But it doesn't reinvent the wheel as much as other JRPGs, and it sticks to the basic turn-based formula. But as the wise people say, the wise elders say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Overall, with such an awesome yet retro battle system, it's hard to rate this battle system any lower than a 10. I didn't even mention the backyard, my favorite coliseum in all of gaming. Alright, let's move on to the story. On paper, many elements of the story of Lost Odyssey are very much by the numbers. It is a tale of good versus evil in which the protagonists go against the dictator of an empire to save the world. You want to know what other games do this? A lot of them, let's just say that. FF2, FF6, FF12... other games, yeah. However, the execution of the story in this game is what makes it fantastic. The cutscenes are gorgeous, the characters are oozing personality, and even with the stereotypical plot, there are still some ways it reinvents the wheel with plot elements like spy eyes, spirit magic, the freezing of an entire country, and magic energy. Highlights of the story include the scenes with Lyra in it, Gongora's rise to power, any scenes with Kakonis in it, basically the entire Disc 3 and every single one of the final cutscenes. Honestly, I literally cried for like 10 minutes from that ending. Both happy and sad crying. I won't spoil it since I don't want this to be a spoiler review. Maybe a little bit minor spoilers, but not much. Though the game slows to a halt story-wise during a couple of areas, such as the Crimson Forest and the Ice Canyon. Ice Canyon is kind of a boring dungeon except for the boss, and Crimson Forest is a little lengthy and there isn't really anything happening in the plot, but otherwise you get some really good pacing throughout the game, and it moves at like a breakneck pace. Especially disc 3, you get a lot of like fast paced action. Makes you want to keep playing. And with a stereotypical plot, a very slow prologue to the game, and a couple spots with pacing issues, I'd probably rank it as 7.5 or 8 in terms of plot. However, the spectacular 1,000 Years of Dreams remedy this issue. These short stories dive into the backstory of Kaim and occasionally lead other immortals, and nothing else in a video game has ever invoked such raw emotion and such great character development with so few words. Well, so few as in kind of long, but also not that long. Though these stories are occasionally quite long, and are very grounded, unlike the main story, it is always worth your time to read through these wonderful pieces of literature. Unlike the main story, meaning they're very grounded. Not that it's not worth your time to read the dialogue, you should read the dialogue. But anyway, overall, even though it has its flaws, I absolutely adore the story of Lost Odyssey, and if the story and themes of this game don't resonate with you, then I'm convinced you are not human. Now I'm going to move on to the music. Oh, I forgot to score the other ones. Oops, battle system was 10 and the story was 9. And the music is 9.5. Sorry, I totally spaced my mind. Anyway, the music. It is incredibly hard to go wrong with a soundtrack composed by the legendary Nobuo Uematsu, obviously, right? And I find Lost Odyssey soundtrack to be one of his best works. Since he has had so much time to hone his craft and find his own unique presence in the musical world, he was able to compose yet another banger soundtrack that perfectly encapsulates, weird word, the tone of the game. Though I wouldn't give it a 10, I'm saving that score for my top 2 all-time favorite soundtracks of his. It is almost there. Standout tracks include the incredible main theme, the victory theme, every single battle theme, Gongora's theme, the Old Sorcerer's Mansion theme, the Ura theme, and basically every song in the game. There are very few tracks in this game that I don't love, and that is a huge bonus because I'm usually pretty critical when it comes to music. And overall, I find Nobuo Uematsu's soundtrack in Lost Odyssey to be one of the best he has ever created, and because of that, this category definitely deserves a 9.5 out of 10. Now it's time to talk about the art and graphics, which I rate a 9.5. Though the characters' outfits are rather wonky and odd, and a couple of cutscenes seem a little unpolished, and why does Kaim look like Mulan or someone from Mulan in the first cutscene, like against the Ura soldiers and stuff, or with the Ura soldiers, I guess, against Gotza? He literally looks like masculine Mulan. It gives me issues thinking about it. Anyway, almost everything else in this game other than that is pretty beautiful. With the power of the Unreal 3.0 engine, the cinematics in this game are quite breathtaking, and the environments and visual effects, such as water and weather, are fantastic. There's a certain portion in Disc 3 where there are like 40 minutes of cutscenes back to back, but due to the fantastic graphics and the high stakes intensity of the sequence, I was literally so engrossed in the game that I forgot to do my laundry, even though my mom asked super nicely like 7 times, and like, I just love that portion of the game. Those cutscenes are great. Though the 3D graphics are slightly dated by today's standards, if this game just got a well-done Xbox Series X remaster, it'd be one of the most beautiful games on the market. So I'm going to be rating the graphics in games mostly based on like for their time, because obviously some things are going to be outdated. But yeah, just to let you know. Anyway, overall, with fantastic cutscenes and revolutionary 3D graphics, Lost Odyssey is a win in the art department. Alright, time to move on to characters, which I also give a 9.5. Let's get this straight. The only reason this doesn't score 10 is because of Mac. And yes, I actually do like Cook, believe it or not. But Mac, he's a stupid idiot kid with almost no personality except that he whines about his mom. No offense, but that kid made me want to rip out my eyelashes, replace them with fake eyelashes, and apply a bee venom mask to hide the zits I get from watching this guy in cutscenes. But I digress, because every other character in this game is fantastic. Kaim is not your typical JRPG protagonist. He's not like other boys. He goes from a battle-hardened, bad-A soldier to a melodramatic family man with deep emotions he wants to hide from his companions. Seth is your kind-hearted thief and pirate, and she is a fantastic character that shows her true colors many times throughout the game. And also, Eric from Dragon Quest XI looks like a male version of her, and is similar, and is freaking me out. I'll skip Jansen for now, by the way. I'm saving my own explanation from him at the end. Cook is a strong young girl that's been protecting her idiotic brother from the hard things in life, and she wants to train under Seth to become a pirate, which I think she would be quite good at, since she likes beating people up. Ming is an incredibly intelligent and kind character that makes for a great queen, and her moments with Jansen and the people in Numara are both awesome. Sarah, though not the most fun character, is a great motherly character who is very wise and emotionally intelligent. Tolton goes from a spoiled train wreck, no offense, to a reliable king character who can stand up to Gongora, and I applaud him for his efforts for that. And my second favorite character in the game probably is Sed, Seth's mortal son, who looks older than her. It's quite hilarious. Sed is full of personality and was a mainstay of my party as soon as I got him. All these characters are phenomenal, much in part to the talented voice cast, some of the best voice acting I've ever heard, except for Mac, because Mac is Mac. But now let's talk about Jansen Freed. Jansen Freed is my favorite character in any game, book, or movie. Though Jack Sparrow comes pretty close, Jansen is the best. Jansen may be a goof-off, he may be a fool and a player, but throughout the story, he has a lot of emotional growth and a lot of development. The emotion in his eyes, you can see it. You can see how much he cares about the other characters. You can see how he goes from a mercenary for the bad guy to a man who helps save the world, even though he's deathly afraid of basically everything. I don't know why I love Jansen so much, but he's like my favorite character ever. Maybe because I act kind of high like he does, so I don't know. But anyway, I stand by that opinion, and I will stand by that till the day I die, that Jansen is the best. If it wasn't for Mac being a piece of crap, Jansen alone would elevate this game to a 10 out of 10 for me. Since I don't really like Mac overall, I had to give Lost Odyssey a rating of 9.5 in the character department. Alright, let's move on to Uniqueness. Uniqueness, 9.5. The whole system of immortals and mortals is my favorite way that I've ever learned skills in an RPG. Though it leads to a game where the immortals are much more powerful than the mortals, it works because the system just makes so much sense with the plot and tone of the game. The 1,000 Years of Dreams showed that the immortals have learned many lessons from the mortals they have met over the 1,000 years of living. This intimate and powerful story element is incorporated into the very way the characters learn their abilities. Though accessories also play a part in teaching the immortals their abilities, similar to Final Fantasy IX or Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire the Rift, the skill link system is just such a unique idea. The game also has some super cool features such as the cubic music score, the aforementioned 1,000 Years of Dreams, the amazing backyard, 25 floor experimental staff remains, the aforementioned ring system, Tolton's side quests, invisible chests, and more. Add to that the unique character designs, the new and improved traditional battle system, and the fantastic dungeons, which I'm just about to talk about. This game is a game that is just as unique as it is fun. Again, I scored 9.5. And speaking of the dungeons, dungeons get a 10. What other game has this many fun and unique optional dungeons? From the Numara Atoll, to the Kalon Village, to the Pirate's Fortress, to Gongora's secret laboratory, to the Terrace Cave, to the Temple of Enlightenment, to the experimental staff remains. Jeez, this game has a lot of good dungeons. Each dungeon has its own unique perks that set them apart from the rest, and each time you enter a new dungeon, it feels completely new. Though the Temple of Enlightenment and the Great Ancient Ruins are pretty similar, which is fine since they are both crazy, epic dungeons. Confusing but epic. Every other dungeon in the game is basically its own unique dungeon. So overall, I don't have any complaints with the dungeons in this game, and they are superb across the board. Alright, let's move on to Sidequests. 10 out of 10. Just like I mentioned, the optional dungeons are a huge part of why this game has a 10 in Sidequest. All these optional dungeons are incredibly fun and unique, just like I said. The side quests that you can receive from talking to people are also great. They give you a lot of good reading components. The 2 Pipot side quests are fun. The cubic music score is epic. Finding all the invisible chests is interesting. Tolton's quest is awesome, and the backyard is absolutely spectacular. It's a common issue in today's games to have too many side quests, and sometimes less is more. Though Lost Odyssey is no Ni no Kuni or Dragon Quest XI in terms of sheer content and side quests, all of the content is great in Lost Odyssey. None of it is subpar. Overall, there isn't much to say other than that I haven't covered throughout the entirety of this review, but if you are playing Lost Odyssey, make sure you do the side quest. You won't regret it. Alright, let's move on to the last category. Quality of life, which I give an 8. This game has some frame rate issues on the original 360, Xbox 360, sorry, that's weird, version. But if you play on either of the newer Xbox systems, so the Xbox Series X or the Xbox, whatever it's called, Xbox One, there we go. If you play on either of those, then this game will run incredibly smoothly. There are some very annoying glitches, but there's only a few of them, and outside of the frame rate issue, but some of the bugs are actually really beneficial, so it balances out in my opinion. There are 2 bugs that can ruin the game: the sprinting in tight areas bugs and the battle slash, why did I pronounce it like that? And the battle slash item soft lock. So the battle slash item soft lock, if you collect an item and run into a battle at the same time, you must reset the game since you can't move after the battle. And also, if you dash in a tight area such as a staircase, sometimes you'll clip into the rain and be forced to reset your game. And since there's no autosave type feature in this game, you will have to start from your last save point. And sometimes the save points are few and far between, so that's kind of scary. However, there are 3 exploits I would like to talk about that are highly beneficial. The save exploit, the equipment persistence bug, and the 2 billion health bug. Yes, you heard me right. The save exploit allows you to save, exit the game, and come back into the game, restoring you to full health. This basically negates ever having to use your hard-earned gold on the inn, and it is a godsend in some of the harder dungeons in this game. Now, the equipment persistence bug allows you to use persistence more than once per battle. If you have your characters change their equipment mid-battle after persistence is used up, you can use it over and over again. This is broken, and this is broken again, and if you really can't get through a boss fight, you should totally use this exploit. However, don't abuse it. It makes the game boring if you can just revive yourself over and over again. But you want to know what isn't boring? Getting 2 billion health. It's my personal favorite exploit. It's hilarious. It isn't all that hard to execute, but it is very situational. For this to work, you have to have your entire front row dead at the start of a battle. Due to how people are revived after battle, this exploit only works during subsequent battles, such as battles on top of the train in Disc 3. It also does not work in battles that have a cutscene between the 2 battles. So yes, this is very highly situational. I don't know if it works on anything but the armored train, but it's hilarious. It's very fun to try on the armored train at the very least. And with the entire front row dead, your back row characters not only have 2 billion health, but they also have GC immunity. So it's pretty crazy. Alright, moving away from exploits and lag, I'm going to talk about some other quality of life issues. This game has no missable items, so that's good, except for a couple of spells that you have to buy before Goatsa freezes over, but it's really hard to miss the spells unless you're literally going out of your way to avoid the shops, so not a big deal. Also, some people hate random battles, so that might throw you off if you don't like them. If you don't like random battles, this game might annoy you. But also, there's not that many random battles in this game. It's pretty well balanced, and you can always turn tail out of the battle, so it's not a big deal. They made a turn tail lets you just escape no matter what, unless it's a boss fight. Some people, I don't mind random battles. I kind of like them, as long as they're like this game and not every step in FF1. Another fault is the difficulty, which starts off incredibly, quite hard. The first 2 bosses are probably the hardest in the game, and then it becomes really easy during Disc 3 at one point, and it's kind of annoying. The optional bosses are really cool and fun, but they're way too easy because you're just completely overpowered. And so those who are like the game, their games, those who like their games difficult will be disappointed in that drop, and those who like it easy might quit even before the first 2 bosses because they're pretty hard. Yeah, so the balancing is pretty weird in this game. Another issue is there's no way to teleport out of a dungeon, which is really annoying when you're revisiting areas for side quests or invisible chests, or to get all your stuff back from those guys who steal it from you. Other people complain this game is not innovative enough, but like I said earlier, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so I ignore those people. My final issue with Lost Odyssey is the lack of world map, which I'm totally okay with. but a lot of people aren't. I mean, some of my favorite games don't have world maps, like Tales of Xillia, FF10, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, or some other ones like Final Fantasy Dimensions 2 or Tactics. Like, they don't really, I mean, those kind of have a world map, but so many people find an issue with not being able to actually go around the map. But once you get the boat, you can actually utilize the world map. So like, it's like a late game world map. You can fly or sail across the map as much as you like, so that's good. It isn't too big of a deal, and the fast travel system in this game is really great anyway, so yeah. Overall, the quality of life is usually great in Lost Odyssey, but there are a couple of issues that make it not worth a 9 or a 10. Sorry about that noise. That was my water bottle. Alright. Now it is time for what you've all been waiting for, the verdict. There are 2 scores I'm going to have in the verdict, the fun factor and the overall score. The fun factor, 10 out of 10, and the overall score, combined throughout all the other categories, is an overall score of 95%. Lost Odyssey is my favorite game of all time, and though it isn't without its flaws, I simply have never played a game I like better. This game got me through 2020. It was my favorite childhood favorite. Whoa. This game got me through 2020. It was my favorite childhood game, and it simply was a magical experience for me to play. Though it isn't perfect by any means, no game really is. And I might be a little bit blinded by nostalgia, but Lost Odyssey is a must-play for anybody who enjoys turn-based RPGs. And who knows, Lost Odyssey might just be the game that converts you to the JRPG cult, because that's what this game did to me. Thank you guys all for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I will be posting a review once or twice a month from now on. Yeah, they're a little bit more time consuming to create than the tier list videos, so that's why I'm not making as many of them. But if you enjoyed this video, we're going to have some other Lost Odyssey videos coming up soon, like the Lost Odyssey character ranking, Lost Odyssey skill ranking. That's going to be a fun one to make. Yeah, and if you enjoy any of the Final Fantasy games, any of the Tales games, any of the Paper Mario games, Golden Sun, got some videos for all of those games. Dragon Quest is coming soon. Those games are all incredible, and I've made videos on them, so if you enjoyed those games, please check out the channel. It means so much to me. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.